Welcome to the Elite Athlete Podcast. Today with us, we have Morgan Norris. She's a 2021 athlete, softball player, all around awesome, awesomeness. I've watched her grow up and had a chance to see her play all throughout high school. So today we're going to talk to her about her recruiting experience, um, her experience with us at PrepStar, and just in general, like talking a little bit about what's going on. She's heading to West Virginia Wesleyan University next year. And so we're really excited about that. But Morgan, appreciate you being with us today. Thanks for joining us.
Of course.
So let's talk a little bit about the overall recruiting experience with you. So obviously we're at the end, right? You just graduated last week. So happy graduation.
Thank you.
Congratulations on that. But let's talk about when it got started. At about what point did you start um, recognizing that, hey, this is, you want to continue playing and you really wanted to work towards trying to play at the collegiate level? So tell me a little bit about that.
I started the recruiting process, like actually getting into it this summer before my freshman year. And college softball has just always been a dream of mine, like it is any little girl that plays softball. But I really started working for it before my freshman year because I knew that before the rule changed that I could have been looking at schools at that time.
Right.
But I really started to focus my junior year when the recruiting opened back up.
Right. So you were right before that big change where the September 1st. So if I remember right, that means, well, you were a freshman. I think you were probably about a freshman or sophomore when that happened, right?
Yeah, sophomore.
Sophomore. So prior to that, for those of you who are watching or listening, um, there was a time when coaches could offer athletes, even in eighth grade, or there was a big problem with early commitments and then decommitments. And that's when the rule changed to September 1st, mandated offers and official visits and stuff like that. Um, so about eighth grade, you said about eighth grade is when you started thinking, hey, this is what you wanted to continue to do. Was there any reason for that? Is it just because like watching other players? I mean, we live in Phoenix, Arizona State's a huge place. What kind of influences did you have in your life on that?
I I was very fortunate enough to have my parents put me in ASU softball camps starting from like fifth grade. So I just kind of grew up around the ASU stadium and all the girls that were playing college there. And like it was a huge impact on my decision because everybody I knew was doing it.
Right, right. Yeah, that you were probably when they won the national championships. You were probably about junior high when that happened, the last.
Mm-hmm.
So it was, yeah, I remember that. So, like, how would you describe your recruiting process overall? You mentioned a little bit ago that you kind of got started and kind of took a little bit of a time off or whatnot, and then you kind of restarted or whatnot. But just overall, how would you describe your recruiting process?
I would say my recruiting process was pretty easy thanks to you. Um, you and PrepStar made it really easy for me. PrepStar was a huge aspect. It was my first recruiting website that I had joined, and it made the sending the emails out super easy for me. You made contacting coaches super easy through your connections, and just it, it was pretty easy. It was a fun experience though with everything going on.
Well, I think it helped that you were such an elite player. So, um, for those of you again listening, like we work with 360 athletes across the country, so we're pretty selective. But I think you were already playing travel ball. Um, was that probably so? Ninth grade is when I met you in the
Mm.
Hot Shots Elite organization. So, had you played club prior to that? You'd played on some teams before, right? Do you remember what they
Yeah,
were?
I've been playing since 12U.
12 you. So you start. So yeah, by the time I think we got connected, you were like 14 you. Um, so definitely was one of the, more upper elite programs. So that helped a lot. So you made it a
Mhm.
little bit easy to big, strong third baseman that could hit the ball a mile. So that was helpful. But thank you for that. So along the way, did you attend many camps? Obviously, showcases. We pretty much have showcases that weekend here in Phoenix, but camps and stuff like that, other than the ASU, kind of walk us through that experience.
Mhm. So when I first started the recruiting process, I had decided that I wanted to stay more around Arizona,
Hmm.
Vegas, Utah, New
Right.
Mexico, that type of stuff. So I went to a lot of camps in Utah. I went to a couple in Colorado. I went to one in Montana. I did one in New Mexico. I just try to get my name out there, just try to get people to see me, really show off my talent in different states because, colleges talk, and
Right.
hopefully it was just another way of getting seen.
Right.
Mhm.
So you said you started, you were looking Southwest region, West Coast. I remember that, but you ended
Mhm.
up in West Virginia. So
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about that because we had this conversation this weekend. But how did how did how did you get there,
Mhm.
right? But I want to kind of talk about that decision you made of um, trying to make decisions between your Division 1 and Division 2 schools and the commitments required by those schools, and just kind of your focus as a student and an athlete. Like,
Mhm.
walk me through that, or walk us through that thinking there.
I um I initially didn't want to look, over on the East Coast and stuff, but I had received an email from West Virginia Wesleyan, and it was just saying, "Hey, I'd love to see more of your videos. Can you send them our way? We'd really like to would really like to talk to you." And we ended up setting up a call, and I really 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 liked the coach,
Hmm.
and decided to go on a visit and stuff, and just fell in love with the school. The school's exactly what I was looking for. They have a great education program, which is what I want to go into. And their softball program is just awesome. They play a bunch of good teams, and they go down to Florida every year. And it just seemed like a lot of fun. But deciding to go do D2 instead of like any other the divisions, I mean, initially I looked at D1 schools like GCU and UNC and University of Montana and stuff like that. But I just realized that I really wanted to focus on my studying. And I didn't want softball to be like my entire college experience.
Right.
And at West Virginia, he really allows us to experience the college experience as along with the softball college experience.
Right. Right. I I try to get athletes to understand that it's all about fit, and and there's no disrespect to the Division 1s, because that's an
Mhm.
amazing opportunity. And we, in your case, I think you were at that caliber, and we had those interests.
Mhm.
But what I try to point out to student athletes is, um, to put yourself in that best situation where you're going to enjoy the college experience. And I think that is the most valuable thing. I mean, like, less than 15% of student athletes, like, I think it's what, less than 15% of high school students even go to college. And then I think what it's like around 7%. Don't quote me on all that, but um, half of those kids, like 7%, even get to play at the collegiate level, Division 1 through JUCO, right?
Mhm.
And I feel like, as a recruiter and as somebody working with student athletes, that it's really important for you, or for that student athlete, to find the best fit, um, and make the go through that process that you went through of kind of self discovery. Because, tell me if I'm wrong here, but I feel like you're going to have a better experience because you really owned that decision process.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, I had initially was really, really dead set on GCU. And I really, really wanted to go there. It's local. I love the campus. Obviously the organization's great. But just as I got older, I realized that it was a lot of time spent on the field, and with talking with a bunch of the other girls, that it was a lot of time spent around the same people, and you had softball every single day for most of the day, and then you went to bed early, woke up early, and then continued it over and over again. And I just didn't personally fit what I wanted to do. And talking with schools that I had a potential interest in, that was definitely one of the things that I had brought up, was asking about what their daily routine of what a softball player looks like, what the rooming situation looks like, what the team chemistry is like. And I just really settled on West Virginia because he lets us do extracurricular activities that we want to do. We're allowed to room with other people that aren't on the softball team. We're allowed to do all these things and still have an individuality, but still meet up and play as a great team.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about the communication part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So again, knowing you for 3-4 years now, I'm not going to say you're a shy person, but you're kind of reserved. You're a reserved young lady.
Mm-hmm.
So was that difficult? The overall, like, did you find the communication part of it, whether it was emails or texts or making that phone calls? Did you find that challenging? If so, why? Talk us through that.
I found that the emails were pretty easy. Colleges, they skim through emails and stuff and they find ones that they want. So I really didn't feel like I had to be too completely myself, but still let my softball show. And the calls were really difficult for me because I'm not a great person over the phone. I don't talk really well over the phone. And so the calls were a little nerve-wracking for me, but definitely after the first one, I got a lot better and it became a lot more like easier, I guess. Yeah, but definitely the emails were a huge way for me to be able to reach out to people and not have to be too nervous.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I remember plenty of text messages. Hey, Coach Mike, what do I say? What do I do?
Mm-hmm.
So that was really fun. So I'd like to backtrack because, as we mentioned in the opening year of 2021,
Mm-hmm.
you are one of the lucky ones. I think, like, I feel like the pandemic hit and impacted the 2021 class pretty hard, made the process really difficult, a lot of massive change, dead periods, all that kind of stuff. Just speaking as a student athlete within that 2021 class, um, what are some of your observations? How did that impact other student athletes that you know? How did that impact you? What kind of things were going through your mind and the minds of some of your friends that you knew about who were also, trying to achieve the next level?
Mm-hmm. So I can't really speak for other sports because I pretty much just hang out with my softball friends. But as far as school goes, there were two other seniors on the team that ended up graduating and going to play softball somewhere else. And what we all experienced together was that we had recruited later in the process than what we possibly could have done years before. And it with the recruiting process, it was a little bit slower because of COVID, because of all the dead periods and stuff. But I think it really showed that you have to work and you have to put yourself out there in order to be heard, because there is so much going on right now. And we just really put in the extra work to be able to show the coaches, like, hey, even though all of this is going on, I can still push through and I can still be a leader and stuff like that. And so that was just the major thing, was that we ended up committing a little bit later than what we could have. But other than that, I think that it was okay. I mean, not being able to play and have the coaches come out and see us live was a big setback. But I think since we stayed on top of sending videos and weekly updates and all sorts of videos of hitting, fielding, throwing, workouts, all of that, just keeping updated and stuff really, really helped.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it required a lot more work on the behalf of the student athlete, definitely. Um, so what was it like to get that offer? Like, tell me a little bit about that. Like when you got that offer, finally you did your visit and stuff, like just how was that experience overall?
So I had gone on my visit and I actually committed there the day after I had met with the coach. And he had given me an offer and it was exactly what I was looking for. I wanted to go there and I really, really wanted to go there. And so hearing him say that he wanted me to come there was like a huge relief. I felt so awesome because it's exactly what I wanted. It's the place I want to go, the people I want to be surrounded by. And it just felt awesome.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Um, well, I'm definitely confident that you found a good fit. I know that program. Um, I plenty of text messages with the coach there, and you were one of the ones. I'll tell you now, like when your dad told me, "Hey, we're kind of changing direction," and he said, "Hey, do you know this coach?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "We'll put some girls in the program before. I've always heard great things about it. Let's see what we can do. Let's just see if we can start a conversation." And the rest is history. So I really feel like that was like a nice match,
Mhm.
and you've really talked a lot about that. So at the opening, you also mentioned that PrepStar had helped you quite a bit. Um, so would you recommend PrepStar to other athletes or me in general? But like, you know, if so, for what reason?
I would definitely recommend PrepStar. It made the entire process just so much easier on us. And I can see that it makes it a lot easier on a lot of athletes because you really get our name out there for us because we don't have the connections that you guys have who have been doing it for a very long time. And just being able to know that there's somebody on your side who is willing to advocate for you for everything is really, really awesome. And it made the whole process so much easier being able to send out emails monthly for me even if I can't get to them, and being able to have the connections to be able to talk to any coach that I would like to talk to even before I could legally talk to one. But having you be able to speak to coaches for me was really, really big upside, and having the profile and having everything there all in one page is really, 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 really nice. I can send it to coaches through text, email, any of that, and made it really easy.
Made it really easy. All
Mhm.
right. So we're going to wrap up this interview. If there's one thing that I didn't ask you about that you wish I had, what would it be?
Hmm. I think you covered everything pretty well.
You think I covered everything?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's good. That means we talked a lot about you. And
Mhm.
like I said, like um it's really interesting because your class is probably that the when we were in the Hot Shots Elite, that was you girls were the freshmen. So um, now you're all graduating. I feel like a proud papa. Um, I was thinking this morning about how many girls from that organization and team went on to play at the next level. Um, and just, I'm super excited for you. I've got your picture over there,
Mhm.
your graduation announcement. So thank you for sending that.
Of
Um,
course.
but I'm just super proud of you. I'm really excited for the next step. Um, as you know, anytime, anything, you just give me a call. I'm there to help you out.
Mhm.
But I appreciate you taking the time this morning to sit down, tell me a little bit about your experience to share with our listeners. It was awesome to have you on, so I appreciate it. Thanks, Morgan.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.